The only reason you fear not sleeping is because you've forgotten the truth about your sleep. And once I remind you of it, that fear is going to dissolve very quickly. In this video, I'm going to erase your fear of not sleeping by walking you through 10 truths that most people with insomnia have never even heard. Whether your fear is about your health, your performance at work, or just the feeling that this will never get better, these truths apply to all of it. And each of these builds upon the last, and they all lead up to truth number 10, which is a technique that actually deprograms the fear for good at the subconscious level. I spent 16 years dealing with my own insomnia, and it's now been over 8 years since I've completely healed from all my sleep issues, and everything I share in this video was key to getting there. So let's get into it. Truth number 1 is that your fear of not sleeping is worse than not sleeping. You're already dealing with the worst of it, but more than that, you're already surviving it. The fear, the anxiety, the stress, the panic, the worry, all of that suffering is actually worse than not sleeping. And you're getting through it already. Imagine a world where maybe you weren't sleeping that great, but you just weren't caring so much about it and you were still living your life. You see how that already feels so much better. Not sleeping is easier and less painful than what you're already going through right now, and it can get much better very quickly. Truth number 2 is that the fear itself is what is keeping you awake. The fear of not sleeping isn't just making you miserable, it is literally causing the insomnia in the first place. When you lie in bed afraid, what happens is your nervous system interprets that fear as danger. And so fight or flight kicks in, and your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate goes up, your thoughts start racing, and your brain is now in full on survival mode. And sleep is the last thing your nervous system wants to do when it thinks that there's a threat, because that would make no sense at all. So the fear creates the alertness, and the alertness prevents you from sleeping. And then worrying about your sleep creates just more fear. And so you get stuck in a negative feedback loop that just keeps amplifying the stress response. You've never lost the ability to sleep. That ability is still there. What's happened is your brain learned a pattern of fear around the topic of sleep. And that fear has been getting in the way of something that your body already knows how to do naturally. So you don't need to fix your sleep. Your sleep is fine. You just need to shift the fear. And that's exactly what the rest of these truths are going to help you do. Truth number 3 is that you're not really afraid of not sleeping. So now that you know that the fear is what's keeping you awake, let's get specific about what you're actually afraid of. Because you're not actually afraid of not sleeping. Lying in bed with your eyes open or, tossing and turning, that's not scary in and of itself. What you're really afraid of is what you think will happen next, right? Having a terrible day, developing health issues, not performing well at work, the anxiety spiral, being stuck like this forever. So before we move on, drop a comment and tell me, what are you actually afraid of? I want you to name it specifically, because naming it and having the awareness of it is the first step to actually dissolving it and releasing it. And here's something that's really important to understand about those fears. What you think will happen makes it more likely to happen. Your thoughts are that powerful. So if you're going to predict the future anyway, you might as well predict one that you actually want. But I want to go even one step deeper here, because a lot of the fear around sleep comes from the pressure you're putting on yourself to perform during the day. That pressure to show up perfectly at work or wherever you are with whatever obligations you have, to function 100%, that pressure is exhausting you, with or without sleep. What if you gave yourself permission to let yourself off the hook a little bit? Not just about sleep, but about life in general. You don't have to be perfect tomorrow. You just have to do your best with how you're feeling in the moment. And that's it. And the irony is, when you take the pressure off, you actually perform better. You feel better, which will also help you sleep better. So just take a breath with me right now, because you are already doing so much better than you think. This ties perfectly into truth number 4, which is your body is far more resilient than you think. One of the biggest fears around insomnia is that not sleeping is hurting your health. And so then a lot of people develop a health anxiety around it. So let's talk about that directly because to me, it's all a bunch of BS. Okay. So one bad night of sleep or even several bad nights will not ruin your health. It also won't ruin your job and it also won't ruin your life. Think about new parents who are surviving years of broken sleep. Think about nurses and doctors pulling 12-hour night shifts or being on call through the night. Firefighters being woken up multiple times during the night for emergencies, like actual emergencies, right? Pilots crossing time zones constantly. These people are probably not sleeping well, and yet they still show up, they function, and they get through their days. Your body is so much more capable of adapting than the fear is telling you. When you have trouble sleeping, there's this tendency to put all the emphasis and all the importance on sleep. But sleep is only one factor that affects your health. There are so many other things that you are actually directly in control of that have a huge impact on your health, like your diet, your exercise, your environment, the people you surround yourself with, and maybe most importantly, the content that you consume. Are you feeding your mind fear mongering, news, and worst case scenarios? Or are you filling your mind with things that empower and uplift you? What you feed your mind and your body matters way more than how many hours you slept. To me, the 80-20 rule applies here. If 80% of your health habits are good, then the 20% that isn't perfect isn't going to break you. So focus on what is in your control and just let the rest go. Truth number 5 is that the fear voice is not accurate. There are two voices in your head, and it's really important to learn the difference between them. We have the fear voice and we have the truth voice. The fear voice comes from the survival brain. The survival brain is loud, it is frantic, it catastrophizes. It says things like, you're never going to get better, or tomorrow is going to be a disaster, something is seriously wrong with you. It speaks in absolute worst case scenarios. In comparison, the truth voice comes from your intuition, your gut. Your intuition is quiet, calm. It is a subtle knowing rather than a panicked screaming. If something bad truly was going to happen, it wouldn't scare you. It would instead feel neutral with zero emotion tied to it. So the biggest thing to remember is that your survival brain is not accurate. It is not giving you reliable information. It is giving you worst case scenarios designed to keep you on high alert, which kind of makes sense because it's your brain's job isn't to be right. It's just to keep you safe at all costs, no matter what. And so sometimes it just falls into this pattern of being overprotective. So the next time that fear voice pops up at 2 a.m. telling you that everything is falling apart, just recognize it for what it is, that it is just your survival brain being overprotective. It doesn't mean that any of it is true. In fact, it's probably not true at all, none of it. And this is actually one of the biggest keys to fixing your sleep issues permanently, learning to work with your survival brain instead of against it so that it understands what you actually intend to happen, which is calming down at night and sleeping. So if you want to learn more about this, I walk through in detail inside the free masterclass that's on my website, and the link to get that is in the description. Truth number 6 is your mindset is more powerful than your sleep quality. How you feel after a bad night is not determined only by how you slept. It is significantly shaped by what you expect and what you say to yourself when you're getting out of bed in the morning. If you wake up and you immediately think, today is going to be awful, how in the world am I going to function? That expectation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your brain hears that and it goes, got it. Terrible day it is. Let's make it terrible. But if you wake up and think, I've gotten through bad nights before and I've been fine, I'm going to make the best of today. Your brain responds to that as well. And your day ends up going so much better. A practical technique to help you with this is to actually start building kind of like a list of evidence in your phone. Keep a note in your phone where you write down all the times that you actually got through the day just fine, even if you had a bad night of sleep. And so this will compound over time and it will quiet down the fear voice because now you have all your own proof from your own life that your sleep doesn't really have as big of an impact on how your day goes at all. Truth number 7 is that there is nothing to be afraid of at night. When you get into bed at night, where are you? You're at home, right? You're in your house, your apartment, wherever you live. You're completely safe inside your home. The only difference is that at night it's dark outside, right? But nothing is actually wrong. So when you get into bed tonight, instead of bracing for what might happen, I want you to just kind of ground yourself in the present moment. I want you to look around your bedroom. I want you to remind yourself of the truth, which is, where are you right now? You're in your house. You're in your bed. You are physically safe. Nothing bad is happening right now. So just take a deep breath and tell your brain everything is okay, because that is the truth. Truth number 8 is that focusing on sleep makes it harder to sleep. Sleep doesn't like to be chased. It wants you to ignore it. And so when you stop paying attention to it, that is when you will actually drift off to sleep naturally. The more that you track your sleep, research a bunch of solutions, overmanage your routine, and plan your entire day around your sleep, that's all keeping your brain in problem solving mode. And when your brain is in problem solving mode, it can't be in rest mode. They can't exist at the same time. This is actually a life lesson that goes way beyond sleep. The only things that are worth your energy are the things that are directly in your control. And when you're in bed, the only thing that is in your control is resting and relaxing, not sleeping, right? Just resting. You can do that. So when you make rest your only goal, your nervous system finally gets the signal that everything's fine and it's safe to let go, and then sleep comes all on its own. Truth number 9 is that insomnia is not permanent. Your brain has a negativity bias. It assumes difficult things are going to last forever, but that is simply not accurate. Most hard things in life are temporary, and insomnia is no different. I struggled with insomnia for 16 years, and now it's been 8 years since I completely healed my sleep issues, and I've helped thousands of people inside my sleep success course do the exact same thing, including people who had been struggling for decades and genuinely believed that they would never fix their sleep ever. So I'll put some success stories on the screen here to give you some inspiration. You can pause the video if you want to read through these. So when you're feeling discouraged, just remind yourself that all difficult things in life are temporary. This too shall pass, and it can pass way faster than you think. Truth number 10 is that you can reset the fear response. I saved this one for last because it's a quick exercise that I want you to try right now to start reprogramming the fear. So here's what we're going to do. Right now, I want you to just think back to last night or the last time you had trouble sleeping. Picture yourself in bed. See what was going on. Were you frustrated, anxious, whatever it was? And now I want you to look at them with compassion. Look at them with love. In your mind, look back to yourself in that moment and give them a hug. In your mind, just give them a hug and tell them that it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You're safe. See, you already got through the day. I'm all the way over here now, right? It was way easier than you thought. Show yourself that from the last time that you had trouble sleeping. So when you do this exercise, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind. Your subconscious learns through a few different ways, but one of those is visualization. And your subconscious also doesn't understand time. It only understands right now. So right now it has a strong emotional association between nighttime and fear, or nighttime and worrying. And so every time you revisit those memories and you look at the past and worry that it's going to happen again, you are reinforcing that association. But instead, when you go back to those same memories and you replace the emotion from fear to love, from judgment to compassion, from worry to trust, you're literally rewriting the emotional charge around the fear of not sleeping in your subconscious mind. You are sending a new signal, and over time, that new signal will become stronger and stronger and replace the old one altogether. What keeps people stuck with sleep problems for so long is that the stress response activating at night can turn into an automatic habit. And in this video right here, I show you exactly how to stop that from happening through 3 techniques that work with your nervous system and teach your brain that it's finally safe to sleep. So you can watch that right here.